The courtroom was already decided. Everyone in the room knew it, the judge, the reporters, the quiet spectators sitting in the back pews, even the security guards, who avoided looking at the woman standing alone at the defendant's table. Her uniform was gone. Her medals were gone. Even her title had been stripped from her file. They no longer called her Colonel Harper Kane, United States Marine Corps. On paper now, she was just Harper Kane, the accused. 7 tours. 3 Purple Hearts. 2 Bronze Stars. 28 years in uniform. Reduced to a single name. And still, she stood straight. But nobody stood with her. No lawyer beside her. No fellow officer in the seats. No family on the benches. Just an empty chair where her defense should have been. The state had taken everything. Her reputation. Her career. Her honor. Even the men she once commanded now looked away. The prosecutor smiled, as if it were already over. "Does the defendant have representation today?" the judge asked. Silence. A silence so heavy it felt like it would crush every memory she'd ever fought for. Just as the judge inhaled to continue, to end it, the heavy back doors of the court exploded open. Every head turned. A single man stood there, worn work boots, a faded jacket, shoulders tense, hands shaking around a folded piece of paper. Behind him stood a small boy gripping his hand. "I'm sorry I'm late," the man said, his voice raw but steady. "But I will defend her." Gasps echoed. The judge stared. "And who are you, sir?" The man swallowed, eyes never leaving the woman at the stand. "Nobody important. Just a single dad she saved once, when everyone else walked past." The Marine colonel finally looked up, and her eyes filled with tears. They had called her the Iron Colonel. On the battlefield, Harper Kane was legend, a voice calm under gunfire, a mind sharp as a blade, and a heart that refused to leave anyone behind. Young recruits said if Colonel Kane led the mission, you'd come home alive. Mothers of Marines once wrote her letters, thanking her for bringing their sons back. But wars end. And when they did, new enemies appeared, in polished suits, hidden behind closed doors. When a mission in a foreign desert went wrong, when a convoy exploded and classified weapons disappeared, someone had to be blamed. The generals pointed downward. The politicians whispered a name. The perfect name. Harper Kane. They accused her of disobeying orders, of selling information, of treason. They stripped her uniform in a private hearing. Her service record locked away. Her pension frozen. Her medals collected like evidence from a crime scene. She didn't shout. She didn't beg. She only spoke one line. "I did not betray my country. I protected the men you are too afraid to name." But courage meant nothing without power. They emptied her office, changed the locks, turned their backs as she walked through the base for the last time. She saluted the flag. Not for them, but for the young soldiers she still called her own. Weeks turned into months. Harper's savings drained. No job would take her. No one returned her calls. She walked the streets like a ghost in a world she once protected. Then one rainy night, under the flickering light of a grocery store, a little boy bumped into her legs. "Sorry, ma'am," he whispered. Behind him stood a tired man, clothes threadbare, eyes exhausted, arms full of cheap groceries. "I'm so sorry," he said. "He didn't see you." "It's all right," she replied softly. Her voice was no longer the voice of a commander. It was just human. The boy looked up at her. "Are you a soldier?" She hesitated. "I was." "Did you save people?" he asked. She looked away, fighting the memory of burning sand and screams in the dark. "I tried." The man gave an awkward smile. "That's more than most of us." She noticed how he counted coins in his palm before paying. Single dad. Barely making it. That night she walked away, but something inside her shifted. Over the next weeks, their paths crossed again and again, at the store, the bus stop, the soup kitchen she volunteered at. She never told him who she really was. She was just Harper. And for the first time in her life, someone didn't see a rank. They only saw a woman. When Marcus learned the truth, the world shifted. He didn't read it in the paper. He didn't see it on the news. He heard it from an old veteran shaking on a park bench. "That woman," the old man whispered. "She once dragged 5 of us out of a burning trap while bullets kissed the ground around her." Marcus couldn't believe it. "Harper?" he asked. "Colonel Kane," the man said with reverence. That night, Marcus went home and searched her name. Pages of accusations, but also pages of heroism. Pictures of her saluting, leading, standing strong beside the flag. And then, the trial date. She hadn't told him she was going to court. She hadn't asked for anything. Nothing but peace. So that morning, Marcus did the only thing a father who teaches courage by example could do. He held his son's hand and walked into that courtroom, past the stares, past the whispers, past the judgment. "I will defend her," he declared, not as a lawyer, but as a witness to the truth they had buried. He told the court who she really was. A woman who gave her sandwich to homeless vets. A woman who fixed broken toys for his son. A woman who cried when the national anthem played, not from pride, but from memory. "Is this the face of a traitor?" Marcus asked, voice breaking. "Or is this the woman you were all too scared to be?" The judge listened. For the first time, the prosecutor stuttered. A motion was filed to reopen classified files. Testimonies from her former soldiers poured in. Evidence buried was brought to light. And the truth finally stood. Colonel Harper Kane had saved her men. Someone else had betrayed the nation. The courtroom, that had once abandoned her, now stood in silence as the judge rose. "Colonel Kane, the court finds you innocent on all charges." Her breathing shattered. Marcus's son began to clap first. Then the veterans did. Then the entire room. And when she stepped down from the stand, a Marine again, not just by title but by truth, she looked at the single father who believed in her when the world didn't. "You shouldn't have come," she whispered. He smiled. "You stood for strangers your whole life. What kind of man would I be if I didn't stand for you just once?" Outside that courthouse, the sun felt different. War had taken everything from her. But love, courage, and the voice of one brave man gave it all back. Sometimes the strongest soldier isn't the one with a gun. It's the one who refuses to let the world destroy someone who doesn't deserve it. One voice can challenge an army. One heart can change a verdict. One act of courage can rewrite a life. And sometimes, the hero is just a single dad who says, "I will defend her."